Hey guys, Ashley Cordini here, letting you know that there's going to be details coming soon about the 300th episode of Chair Shot Reality. If you want to join in the conversation on social media, use the hashtag CSR300.
Chair Shot Reality coming to you from the beautiful Point Park University studios in downtown Pittsburgh, episode 293 of CSR. He's Josh Eisenberg, I'm Justin LeBar. We are live on Periscope over here. You need to check that out, or you can check out the Wrestlers on Periscope channel. You can see it live, chime in on the conversation. Hello, everybody. The beautiful Ashley Cordini doing our social media. She's controlling that vantage point.
Yes, sir.
Let's control the fantasy booking, Josh, of Brock Lesnar.
That was the best first shot you've ever gotten with Brock Lesnar. Right off the bat, I feel like it's going to be a good show this weekend.
I'm a one-take Tommy. Brock Lesnar. He's got the MSG match against Big Show this weekend on Saturday. And then he's got the Go to Hell tour concluding with The Undertaker and Hell in a Cell. We kind of know that's logically going to wrap up the Undertaker rivalry. Josh, what is left in WWE for the Beast, Brock Lesnar?
I think Brock Lesnar needs to go back to becoming world champion, but I don't foresee that happening. I think there's a lot of matchups with Brock Lesnar that WWE still needs to go into. I've been saying this for years. Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, the physicality, the athleticism between both guys. Have you found somebody in WWE over the past 10, 15 years that has a better pacing, better smooth operating skills as Randy Orton in the ring? No, unless you look at Brock Lesnar. That guy is a complete package. We know what Brock Lesnar can do. There needs to be more utilization of Randy Orton. And with a face, Brock Lesnar, yes, Orton's been heel face, back and forth. But we know how good of a heel Randy Orton can be.
Well, and what I like about that, and you've been saying that for a while, and I'll give you full credit.
You
planted that idea in my head a long time ago. What I like about it, too, is that Randy Orton, I say it all the time, he's the stereotypical perfect sports entertainer from look, from skills, from pedigree. But the problem is the guy did so much so young. He's done everything there is to do a few times over that I feel like it's almost like he's bored, we're bored, WWE's bored. And granted, he has fought Brock Lesnar back in the first go-around that Brock Lesnar was in WWE before he went off to be a UFC champion.
Before he became really Brock Lesnar.
Yes, before he really became Brock Lesnar and before Randy Orton has become to the legend status that he is approaching. They both have the OVW history, so there's a lot of great old video packages you can pull up in terms of their coming up in the business. And you're right, Randy Orton, he stands eye to eye with Brock Lesnar. That would be a very interesting showdown. Another name that's been thrown out there that is on the complete opposite side of the spectrum than a Randy Orton, I don't know how much legitimacy is to the rumors or somebody just started it for fun, but let's entertain it.
Probably you. You probably started it yourself. You're a mark for everybody out there. Who is it?
Kevin Owens.
KO.
Now here's the interesting thing with Kevin Owens. Obviously, Kevin Owens, WWE did carry over to some extent the persona that he carried as Kevin Steen, the Steen fight. You know that he's a brawler, that he's capable of anything. As they really exploited that in his feud with Sami Zayn. It's very early, but a lot of interesting potential of building Kevin Owens to a point to where he just wants to go in there and go swinging with Brock Lesnar.
I think that is to come, but not right now. And you look at Kevin Owens, Brock Lesnar has a couple more years left in his contract. It's not like he's done in March and you have to fit everything in the next couple of months. You're going to be selective with who Brock Lesnar faces. This would be a perfect time if Kevin Owens, this time next year, because I think by this time next year, and I'll say it now, Kevin Owens should become the world champion by this time, October of 2015. Kevin Owens should have had a run as world champion. If you really want to make some noise in WWE, you have to go with a guy like Kevin Owens, somebody that the crowd immediately attaches onto. From day one beating John Cena, fluttering a little bit in the Cesaro feud, now he's Intercontinental Champion. It's only up for Kevin Owens if WWE Creative backs him.
Well, let me take a name off the table that we've heard for a couple years.
Don't even. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not going into the Stone Cold thing.
Go ahead.
No,
okay.
I'm going to leave that there, and we will touch it
in a couple of weeks.
We will touch it in a couple of weeks because there's not much else we can say until then. But let me take one name off there, and I know WWE actually they started to tease it a few years ago, and then it's since got detoured. I don't know why I got all
detoured.
Yeah,
that's not right.
Let me detour from this, and that is Brock versus Rock again. And here's my problem with that. Obviously, huge box office draw. I have no problem with that. But what I do think there's a problem, and I think it especially comes more from the Hollywood side, is the liability of injury. This ain't going to be no stuntman for Dwayne Johnson. This is going to be The Rock doing only as The Rock will do. He's going to go out there and give it 120%. He's going to go hard. Brock Lesnar goes hard. And for The Rock to walk out of it unscathed and not possibly affected, we saw him get affected a few years ago where he missed a few promotional tour dates for whatever movie at the time. The man's a $20 million plus man in Hollywood per film. That's a huge liability if you're a studio and you got The Rock lined up for a few projects.
I wouldn't be against the attraction of Brock and Rock. I think that even now, because they established themselves so much more than any other superstar has outside of WWE, maybe aside from guys, people like Hulk Hogan at times and maybe Stone Cold and these people. But you could arguably say these two built their names even more and bigger outside of the machine. So I understand why people would want to see it and why it would sell tickets. How about a guy that he really didn't finish up business with? Seth Rollins, the world champion, still should have one more shot at the Beast. Or let's rephrase that, the Beast should have one more shot at the champion.
Look, I enjoyed the Royal Rumble match, the triple threat match. I thought Seth Rollins was a great compliment in that. I enjoyed their Money in the Bank match, even though it had a goofy finish with The Undertaker coming in.
Battleground.
Thank you, Battleground. The summer runs
Get your facts straight.
Oh, please.
Get your facts
I'm
straight.
sorry I don't remember the wardrobe and the exact dates of every damn thing in the last 10 years.
Hey, just saying.
Mr. Wardrobe. Look, the Seth Rollins Brock Lesnar stuff's been entertaining, but first off, I don't really want to see it again. They had to do some very creative presentation of the match to make it believable. To have a guy of Rollins smaller size against Lesnar. I'm not going to harp on that because again, the matches were good, but I don't want to see it again. And if anything else, on the principle of since he came back in Miami the night after that Mania in Miami, since then we've seen him fight Cena a couple times. We've seen him fight Triple H a couple times. We've seen him fight Undertaker a couple times. We've seen him fight Rollins a couple times. I'm tired of the multiple. Like you got the special attraction.
Okay.
Use it.
Okay.
Give me some new fresh opponents.
Well, how about Sheamus?
I'm not opposed to that.
You love Sheamus. Your boy is the Celtic Warrior Sheamus.
No, because here's
your
why.
man.
Because it's so easy. All it takes is a few right moves and a little bit of creative force. He has all the tools to make him as believable of an ass kicker as possible, and they've done it before, and it was successful when he was a believable ass kicker. So if you build it right, put him up against Brock Lesnar, you have some entertainment. Same thing with Randy Orton. He's a guy, you present him right, it's a potential ass kicker versus Brock Lesnar.
Who's after Taker? Pick a name. I'm putting you on the spot, LeBar. That's what you get paid the big bucks for.
I'm gonna go Rollins.
You're gonna go Rollins?
I don't even know. That's so on the spot. I have no clue. I'm sorry.
I am actually gonna say the next time we see him will be in the Royal Rumble match.
In the actual match?
Yep.
I like that bet.
In the Royal Rumble
I'm
match.
gonna take that one.
Look at you coming over to the dark side.
Please.
Very well.
Dark side. You look like you just stepped off Mr. Howell's boat.
Chairshot
Reality, WrestleZone.com, episode 293. We got so much more this weekend. CSRWrestling.com, blogs every single day, audio, podcast. We also got a special interview that was done outside of here with myself talking about the inception of Chairshot Reality, all kinds of great stuff. Check it out. Josh and I, social media Saturday, and then getting fired up.
Hey guys, Ashley Cordini here, telling you to check out CSR's own Justin LeBar, who was featured on the Emmy Award-winning interview series Hustle and Heart TV. Check it out as LeBar opens up about how CSR was created, the relationship with the fans, the biggest challenges, stepping into the ring, and even more.
Chairshot Reality, WrestleZone.com here in Point Park University Studios in Pittsburgh. It is hashtag WZCSR for social media Saturday. Josh Eisenberg, 4 on Twitter, at Justin LeBar. Josh, the question this week seems to be one that a lot of people wanted to bring up after what was a mixed review Monday Night Raw from Buffalo.
Was it a mixed bag of reviews? Because I didn't see any positives about it.
I did not hate it. I was actually more upset with the fans.
Well, here we go.
But
you calling out the fans, sitting on your throne, down on us peasants. Go ahead.
All they did was sit. They didn't make any noise except for a few times.
Oh, you mean the fans in Buffalo, not
the fans of Buffalo.
Okay, not the keyboard warriors.
No, they were the fans of Buffalo. There were certainly things to complain about in Raw, but our question is, what would you change about Raw if you have the chance to change something? And obviously, as you see the tweets going along the bottom of the screen, some people pulled out multiple things. But Josh, I'm asking you, give me your number one A priority thing you got to change.
Well, I think the one thing that you should change is what changed and killed WCW was 3 hours of content. And 3 hours and 15 minutes sometimes, 3 hours and 10 minutes. You have this crowd in there for 4 hours of wrestling. Even fans that are watching sporting events aren't going to really invest themselves from beginning to end. And on a sport that thrives so much on fan interaction and fan experience and everything like that, you got to limit it down back to 2 hours. And here's the thing. I know it's not going to happen. It's really not going to happen because why would WWE do that? The ratings could be low, but they're still being very fruitful in different things, whether it's merchandising, whether it's touring, whether it's TV rights, whether it's commercials. it doesn't make sense from a business standpoint, but I do think that the business is faltering because you're getting so much exposure and so much time on television each week.
Well, you're right about that, Josh. The 3-hour thing is obviously a number one complaint that people have, and I'm going to say you're right. It's not going to change anytime soon at the moment from business reasons because they still make as much money as they do being on the top of cable every Monday night. Even if they're behind Monday Night Football, they're still up top, so they still get money from ad revenue. But I will say that maybe as time goes on, when Triple H has full power, he did mention this as something, I believe it was on the Stone Cold podcast. So it's certainly something that is internally it is recognized as 3 hours is a challenge. So I'm going to go away from the 3-hour point. I'm going to say if you're going to have a 3-hour show, which they are, I want to focus more on the formatting from a television standpoint. They actually hinted a little bit of it in an odd way, the way they executed this past week on Raw in Buffalo, which is just some quick cold breaks, going to commercial without a whole lot of build and hoopla, without a whole lot of coming up. It kind of sometimes makes a chaotic feel. A lot of quick multiple things happening, whether it's just simple showing a match that's going on for storyline A and then storyline B over here, just doing a quick cut or even a double screen real quick of showing, oh my God, Brock and Paul Heyman have just walked in the building. Now, in the ring might be something completely unrelated to Brock and Heyman, but it's just as a side note of just, it makes it feel more chaotic, more moving parts. It's live television. Take advantage of the fact that you have live television. If you ask me, that's one of the huge reasons why WWE and Raw has been as successful as it was and around for as long as it is because for predominantly, and it's 20 plus years, it's live, and live gives you a great advantage.
And here's the thing with WWE is I think everybody out there, and you and me will say that this might be one of the most talented rosters from top to bottom.
Absolutely.
They have plenty of talent to go around, whether it's guys that are holding championships or whether it's guys that you don't see every week or you might see every week and you bitch and complain, for lack of a better term, of not utilizing a guy like Cesaro or not having a guy on TV winning consistently every single week. You have these talents. So maybe, just maybe, you need to bottle these talents up and do something a little different. And this is not going to sound different at first, and I know you're going to be against it, but hear me out. You have all of this talent interacting with authority figures of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. That's getting old.
Yeah.
People know Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, and I think they were great heels last year. They were great heels with Daniel Bryan. You may need somebody new, some new fresh authority figure to come in, even if it's a spike of interest for 2, 3, 4 months. It's better than what we're getting now with Kane making matches for the authority.
While I am in favor of Kane right now, what's going on with him?
What?
I like the Kane stuff.
You like the fat. Oh,
yes,
geez.
I like the Kane stuff.
Why?
But I will agree with you on the authority
Why?
stuff. Wrestling made it just fine in certain times when Jack Tunney or Commissioner Gorilla Monsoon or what have you, you knew their name, you knew that they were the authority figure, they were the figurehead authority figure, but you didn't have to see them every week, multiple segments. They popped up when needed, when a problem
Something
came about.
important came about.
You don't need to have an authority. It was fresh and hot and great in the late 90s with the Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Eric Bischoff over in WCW, but it's so drawn out, so outplayed. We've done general managers, we've done anonymous general managers. Let's go back to what works. What's old is new again. Let's go back to where, yes, let's keep Triple H and Stephanie as your authority figure since they legitimately are, and let them pop up once every so many months, or if it's around WrestleMania season, they can be around more, especially because Hunter's going to have a match usually. But for the most part, let's go week to week to week and let things solve them out. If you need a match made, you don't need an authority figure necessarily to do it.
Just make the freaking match.
Make the match.
Just make the freaking match.
We kind of assume that contracts get signed. It's just, sometimes what's old is new again. Go back to basics. Don't overthink it. Keep it simple, stupid. Whatever other phrase there is, that's what I'm standing by on this.
And that's what WWE needs to really do, is to strip everything down that they've been trying to do for so many years and developing so many complex storylines where a lot of these storylines aren't getting resolved, so what's the point of them?
Have you ever wondered about how CSR got started? Or maybe you were watching, maybe you remember. Do you want to hear some of the behind-the-scenes stuff? What about relationship with fans? What about me stepping into a ring of all things? The goal of where CSR could go. Did an awesome interview, really proud of it, sitting down with Darius Chisholm, Emmy Award-winning interview series, Hustle and Heart TV. You can check that video out on CSRWrestling.com. Really opens up and talks about what it's like to hold a job that Josh and I have and to live in this crazy world that is Chair Shot Reality being filmed here at Point Park University. Check it out. We got fired up tomorrow for your Sunday. Ending the weekend getting fired up, Eisenberg LeBar.
I'm already fired up. I've been fired up all week, LeBar, all weekend. I'm ready to go.
It's a New England kind of weekend. Get fired up.
I am fired up because tonight, yeah, I sound like Booker T, tonight, TNA Bound for Glory. I'm fired up because the card looks good, but there's one small problem, and I wrote about this on WrestleZone. Concord, North Carolina, 83 miles away from Cameron, North Carolina. Does that city ring a bell to you, Justin?
Cameron, North Carolina.
Cameron, North Carolina. Does that ring a bell?
Home of gods.
Home of gods galore, and a man who sits on his own throne, and then his brother as well, who has an even higher throne at times. But whatever you put, Matt and Jeff Hardy own North Carolina. I am fired up because instead of building that 2-3 month feud into one big match at Bound for Glory, which they say is the WrestleMania of TNA, what do?
Shouldn't even ever
They throw Drew Galloway in the main event and stop. Hammer time? No, but you know that I love me some Drew McIntyre, Drew Galloway, so it doesn't even matter what I say about him.
He used to fall asleep to his WWE theme song.
Out of time. Yeah, absolutely. But I am fired up because for 2-3 months, you're building up to this pay-per-view with pre-recorded video, pre-recorded week shows, but you didn't make this a one-on-one match, Matt versus EC3 or Jeff versus EC3. You throw a guy in there that doesn't make any sense because all he did was win a #1 contenders match 3 weeks prior. Unbelievable. I don't understand how the writing was on the wall and you could not make this the best and most logical match.
I'm fired up over on the WWE side with something I'm a little frazzled about. Talk about they're using writing on the wall, and I don't even know if we should be. And that is the speculation and the potential of taking the Total Divas storyline that we saw in the this past season of Dolph Ziggler, who used to date in real life Nikki Bella, who now dates in real life John Cena.
Before the enhancements?
Yes, before the enhancements.
Makes sense.
They're talking about maybe, at least again, in the rumor mill, of taking Dolph Ziggler and having him feud on TV with John Cena based off this Total Divas. This is a bad idea. I don't even know where to begin. So this is in no particular order, so just bear with me. First off, you have Dolph Ziggler, who is an awesome babyface for you. John Cena, who we've all discussed, is already going to be your babyface, so it's weird there in the first place. Secondly, while they hint at Nikki Bella and the Divas Revolution that she dates somebody important, they don't actually really ever say it a whole lot because Nikki Bella's a heel, John Cena again is a face. So how do you do the storyline and not bring her into the fold? Thirdly, Total Divas was filmed a few months ago, and now it's on hiatus, so it makes no sense. Leave it be. I don't mind taking Total Divas and make it relevant to the main roster storylines, but not this one.
Speaking of John Cena,
it was so contrived anyway. That was so contrived. The whole Dolph Ziggler. I mean, is Dolph really? Well, maybe he is. I don't know.
Who hasn't Dolph Ziggler been with? That's another story for another day. I am fired up because WWE right now has an opportunity to put somebody up against the aforementioned John Cena, and it's right in front of your eyes. Xavier Woods. Give me it. Xavier Woods. Did you see him on Monday night? You don't see much of Xavier Woods in the ring. The guy is money with the trombone, even better than Santino LeBar. Xavier Woods has done something in WWE that not a lot of people do. He's so comical, he's so funny on the outside as a heel where he has to manage two guys, but at the same time, he's just as good, if not a better wrestler than Kofi Kingston and Big E. Give me Xavier Woods versus John Cena for the United States Championship. Hell, if Capital Punishment featured R-Truth and Cena, why can't Hell in a Cell feature this?
I touched on it a little bit Friday. We talked about and praised Randy Orton, but I want to go a little step further. I'll tell you what, that Buffalo crowd last week in Raw, why did you pay your money to show up to the arena and glue your ass to the seat? You made no noise except for a few special occasions. And one of those special occasions was when the Apex Predator Randy Orton came out for nothing more than a squash match, basically, on Bo Dallas. Yes, Bo Dallas obviously got some good local heat picking on the Buffalo Bills, so added interest in seeing him get his butt whooped. But Randy Orton came out there, a guy who's on again, off again lately, hasn't really had something to sink his teeth in since the whole Seth Rollins stuff at the beginning of the summer, and he got those people at a fever pitch. That reminds you that while he's done everything, while some people might find him boring at this point, while he's not around on a full-time schedule anymore, he is still a legitimate star for a bulk of the general, maybe even casual audience.
Speaking of big stars, well, it's not going to be at Cowboys Stadium, but it's going to be in Dallas, Texas, the home of my favorite team, the Mavericks. Raw Dallas is featuring a superstar lineup, and they're not like the Buffalo Bills who failed in the 90s. Dallas succeeds, baby. Woo! They're champions, and it should be a night featuring champions. You have John Cena, obviously. You're going to have guys like Stone Cold, Brock Lesnar under the same roof.
Shawn Michaels,
woo! The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. You have all these guys coming in for this one big Monday Night Raw, and with ratings so low, you have to do something different. You know what? I'm going to throw something out there. Why won't you tease a big announcement, but maybe not a huge announcement, but a monumental announcement announce a WrestleMania match.
I like
Get
that.
the crowd going, get this buzzing, and you have November, December, January, 6 months to talk about one of these main events that you can pencil, not even pencil because you don't want to erase it. You want to pen that son of a gun in. Book it.
Well, while
book
you're
it.
talking about making announcements for WrestleMania, we're going to make an announcement real quick here, closing out Fired Up. Happy to say CSRWrestling.com. We've had some great people associated. We got a new name who you'll be able to see a weekly blog from starting this Wednesday. I'm talking about former 20-year referee for WWE. He's refereed Edge and Taker at WrestleMania. He's refereed anybody and everybody. One of the most respected and liked guys in the wrestling business today, Mr. Jimmy Corderas, of course, former guest as well in this studio. Jimmy's going to be writing a weekly blog on CSRWrestling.com you can find on Wednesday. He's got tons of stories, great analysis. Definitely don't want to miss that.
He is the man. If you want to call Seth Rollins a man, I don't know, Jimmy K has to step right in front of him.
And legit one of the nicest guys you can ever
Has he ever
find.
told you a story about the inflatable duck, a pair of scissors, and a hotel in the Hyatt?
No, that sounds like it's good to get.
Ask him with
gonna
that.
get crazy.
He gonna fire you
Fired up. See you next week.